Yo. Alright, so here's my audience. Yes.
Oh.
And here's cool. Alright, so what if I told you guys that your bad handwriting could cause you to go to jail for murder? Would you believe me?
No.
No? Alright, well let me tell you how it is absolutely possible. Alright, Dr. Heino Ento, in 2005, he had a patient called Jeffrey Deutschman. And this guy needed medication. So Dr. Ento prescribed him some medicine. He wrote down what he thought said lanthanum carbonate. But the prescriptionist, the pharmacist, couldn't read it. And he actually ended up giving the guy lithium carbonate. So for 6 to 9 months, this guy was on medicine that's supposed to make him like super good, and it ended up dragging him down to almost death's door. He almost died because this guy couldn't write. Alright? So it is possible that your handwriting could cause somebody to die. Alright, now I hope it doesn't come to that. I really don't think it will. But handwriting is definitely somebody that's it's a huge problem. Everybody you ask is like, oh, I've got terrible handwriting. Except for like the few people you meet, like Mr. Ben here, who's got perfect handwriting, is like in the 5th percentile. Yes. For the rest of us who really have no idea what we're doing, it's for us. Okay, so I really would like to just talk about a couple of general areas that can help us in our handwriting. Right? Those 3 areas are satisfaction, and legibility, and speed. Satisfaction is just, do you enjoy your handwriting? Do you think it looks good? Is it something shaking your head no? Awesome. And this is for you. And legibility, can you read it? Because if you can't read it, there's no point in writing it. And then for speed, because if you can't write fast enough, I mean, you're going to get behind. Okay? So let's take a look at some of these general areas. Alright, in a Time magazine article that was released in 2007, they said that this is the opening line. It says, doctors' sloppy handwriting kills more than 7,000 people annually. That's kind of like ridiculous to think about, that handwriting, that doctors can't write well enough, we all know that, but it actually is killing people because the pharmacist can't read the prescription, doesn't know what he's doing, and so he ends up giving something that he thinks is the prescription, like Plendil instead of Isordil. The guy can't read it, so it's like, okay, here you go. Ends up killing a lot of people. Legibility, if you can't read it, then there's no point in having written it, and speed, you're always getting behind. Is that not the case? Professors like flipping the slides like, man, can you please go back? And I need to see that again. Alright, so let's talk about satisfaction first. Do you enjoy your writing? There's a couple things you can do to help you enjoy your writing a little bit more. Number 1 is your type of paper. You can get notebook paper, or if you have a pen that bleeds a little bit more, then you can get something that's a little bit thicker. Go to Walmart, buy a ream of paper for like $5. It's 80 sheets. I love that stuff. It's thicker, it's coarser. It might help you out a little bit. Or you can do a different type of pen. If you're really interested in handwriting, then probably a roller ball, like those little zebra pens, are not the best for you. Everybody loves those because they're reliable, but they don't have enough resistance on them to really help you out. So if you want to do a good job with your letters, a felt tip Sharpie pen or a nicer, like a fountain pen, is a really good idea. The way you grip your pen is also important. If you have your pen and you're like this and you get these hand cramps, probably you're not doing it real well. And a guy named Dias Lawson, he is just a handwriting enthusiast, says this: what's essential is that you be comfortable, that the pen feel balanced, and that you have no tension in your hand. So if you leave going like this, something's not right. Alright, so just be relaxed. Another pen enthusiast, Kate Gladstone, says this on her website, Handwriting Repair. Pretend your pen is a baby bird, right? So the pen's nib, on a fountain pen, that would be the point. The nib is the beak, and then where your fingers go is the neck, and then the shaft is the bird's body. Your aim is to write without squashing the poor thing, right? So kind of get that picture in your head, writing with the bird. And then also, there's that whole thing of right-handed versus left-handed. How many people are left-handed writers? Okay, so you guys have probably heard that it's like impossible for left-handed people to write because they can't write as well, and that it smudges the ink. That can be true, but there are lots of really good handwriters that have learned to just lift their hands a little bit, do different things to overcome that. So it's very possible, and it's really more of an urban myth that left-handies can't write really well. And that's not true. Okay, so that's satisfaction. Legibility. And legibility is something interesting. When you first start, they tell you to write what? print, right? Just the big letters. Do your O's, okay, do your P, and you do the big letters. You do that for first grade, second grade. You get to third grade, and they're like, okay, forget everything you know. Let's throw it over there. Now it's cursive and cursive only, because that's the only thing you're ever going to use in your life, just cursive. How many of you guys still use cursive? Okay, one. Yes. So, obviously, we don't end up using cursive. What researchers have found is that a mix of the two is actually best. Printing is pretty slow because you got to do every letter individually. Cursive is good because it's quick, it's all connected, but it's got a lot of time wasters because it's got all this stuff. If you want to write legibly, you want to write with a little bit of both, because it gives you that speed, but it also gives you a little bit of clarity in all the different letters. In the study, it was Virginia Berninger that said this. She said narrative and copy papers in this study with mostly cursive letters received higher overall legibility ratings than those which produced with mostly manuscript letters. And she's talking now about that mix. A mix with a little bit more cursive than manuscript is really going to help you out. And then also, again, Miss Kate Gladstone says this: eliminate loops wherever possible. Okay, so if you're doing all your writing and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be super cool, I'm going to do a big swirl here, it's going to be hard to read. So if you want your writing to look better, then just eliminate those loops. Make them just simple things, and that will help your legibility so people can read it. And then one more thing that's really important for legibility is downstrokes. That's just going down. She says that if you're going to do that, go all the way down to that line on the paper. Don't just start something, kind of go halfway down, then start up to your next letter. Go all the way down, and then make sure that it's all parallel. One of the biggest things for making your writing look good is just making sure it looks the same. Alright? So when you're writing out, just kind of think, okay, it's just got to look the same, it's got to be even, parallel, ups, downs, all that same slant. Alright, and then talking about speed. The handwriting of students, and this is again in that study, the handwriting of students who used a mixed style, a little bit of cursive, a little bit of manuscript, were faster than the handwriting of the students who used either manuscript or cursive style exclusively. So, a lot of people tend to do either cursive or manuscript, right? It's like all one, all you got to connect everything, or nothing's connected. It's capital letters everywhere. They say the best and the fastest writers mix it. But there's a little bit more than just mixing it. There's a couple things that you can do to help make it faster. If I want to go from here to north, what's the fastest way to go? Is it up through Docks, East Campus, and then back around? Is it down to the South Tunnel and up around? No, it's going just straight there, right? The same thing with writing. The distance is a lot shorter, but it's the same idea. If you want to finish faster, the quickest thing to do is to go there in a straight line. And an example is this. If you write out the word to, okay, T-W-O, you're going to write T-W-O, and then probably you're going to come back and cross the T, right? Instead of doing that, that means you've got to start writing, you go all the way back across the word, cross it, go all the way, skip the word again, and then start your new word. And that really kind of throws you off, especially if you write the word the. You'll notice that a lot. That you write T-H-D, or E, go all the way back, cross it, and then it kind of throws you off. Like, where was I? But if you can just do that down slash with a T, then cross it right away, and back with that word to, cross it right away and go straight into W-O. And then you just continue on with your word. That makes it a whole lot faster, and it cuts down on your writing. Another thing is to cut down on your swirls. They say don't do the cursive O, like we do the O and then you swirl out of it. Just go up and around and then straight out. Or from your perspective, up and around and over. And you do 2 O's, just go like that. Because that cuts down on extra distance, and it makes you do a bunch of swirls that you don't need to do. They may look cool, but they don't really help you. And if you're not good with them, it can make it very illegible. Also, make curved lines that are straight. If you have a super curve, straighten it out a little bit. And if it's straight, curve it just a little bit to give you that little bit of speed to keep going. Alright? Okay. So if you do these things, it's going to take a little bit of practice, but the National Handwriting Association says that little bits of practice every day and just regular time, frequent, is more important than big blocks of just sitting down and practicing handwriting. And that's great for us because we're all